But his record with the all ball was pre-South Africa.
Just quietly. That's the best person you want. Imagine if he was talking, Malinga was talking that to Chamika, there'll be just, so many emotions involved. It wouldn't have been good to watch. So
would have given 10 different messages.
Talk about Chandimal coming to the 11. That's a hard one to gauge.
You want me to go first? Welcome to another episode of Sri Lankan Cricket Podcast with Vida and Bora. This episode is sponsored by Stag Sports Australia. Once again, I'm with my co-host Sohan. How are you doing, Bora?
Yeah, good, Vida. It's been a good week for us as Sri Lankans with the one-day series results going our way. So excited to be here covering that topic.
Yeah, you're right. 30 years we waited to win a series against Australia at home. And we sealed the series in the fourth game. Australia won the last game and the series ended up 3-2, but we dominated the series. For the last year, we've been talking and we always lose the first match of the series, then try to come back. And we ended up being the losing side almost every series. Well done to the team. The captain and the support staff, they played as a team. The batsmen scored runs, so that was the key thing. You requested our batsmen to score 100 and the boys delivered 2, Bora. So I'm so happy. I know we lost the T20 series and I'm happy because I predicted a 3-2 series win and it was great.
And you're right. I think just quickly credit good prediction by yourself going into a 3-2 win again. So your prediction's pretty good, strong on that end. Coming back to where we discussed I touched base about wanting one of our players to go on and make a big one. And I'm guessing that would have been what would have been discussed in the dressing room as well. We've been in environments like that, and it's almost around the corner where there's a big one. And as the coaching staff, they would have been communicating, encouraging that group. So to see that results, at an important stage and with some big runs, it's good for this young team. We've had Pathum Nissanka score 100, Charita SriLanka, number 5 scoring 100 is massive in ODI cricket.
Yeah.
It's not an easy achievement. Very rare occurrences where you get hundreds.
I think the last man to do was Thilan Samaravira. That's way back in 2010 or 11.
Okay, so You see that's how hard it is. And given the situation at that time, that 100 was really important. And it's refreshing for us in white ball cricket. You summed it at the start where you said we sometimes win the first game and it doesn't go to plan, or we play really tight games and we can't cross the line. So today we are here with a good review of how the series has gone through. I think just quickly with the Australians, something I've noticed is I was reading in one of the media articles, they're saying they seem to be finding some new kid who does well. And I think the reference comes from when Australia were last year. Kusal Mendis was young. He scored a big 100. Dhananjaya De Silva was young. He scored 100. And now when you relate that to the current series, Pathum Nissanka is new. He scored 100. Charita SriLanka is new. And the young under-19 player, Dunith Welallage, he's a bit of a nightmare. Has been a nightmare for them. He's been taking wickets.
Highest wicket taker with 9 wickets.
Yeah, for a young guy, and he takes wickets within the first 3 or 2 overs, which is a big effect in the game when he comes into the attack. I think let's break the series apart as we discuss before we head into the test series. I think the biggest thing for us was we managed to make key decisions that went through key partnerships. Kusal Mendis has been looking good throughout the knocks he's had, so he seems to be settled in. A lot of distraction seems to be, the door shut behind the distraction. So that's the most important thing, because his skill sets were never a question. It's just it was a behavioral concern. So that's where, I mean, people don't recognize the effects that Dasun has put in through a leadership role to keep those noise out, and not encouraging that in a dressing room atmosphere. Like we discuss we always talk about how important is to control and look after the dressing room atmosphere, because if it goes out of shape, it's a very hard one. It's almost like, that's our main area where everything all the energy generates, all the habits, everything generates through. So just to sum that up, Dasun's done a massive job, and that's about a 1.5 to 2 years changeover that has taken place.
The culture in the team is the most important thing, isn't it, Parag? Like in this team there are no superstars. Only superstar is one in the SriLanka. So that brings a healthy competition among all the players, which shows, I mean, there are players who has been playing in the Sri Lanka team for a few years, but all these youngsters, they are scoring runs as well. So there's a big competition for spots, which is a good thing. You saw Galle got a chance to come and play a couple of games. Because of injury, he got the chance, not because batsmen are failing or not scoring runs. So when you're coming in to a team in a situation like that, that means even though you played few years of international cricket, you have to perform, otherwise you're not gonna get a longer go at it. So that's what I like about this team, and the standards. I mean, they've been doing this for the last year, like slowly, but now they've lifted that standard to a certain where we can beat any team, especially at home. We can beat any team. The other thing is the fielding standards, Para. It's been the fitness levels of these boys shows in the field. Like, they give everything, every player. You saw Jeffrey Van Der Zee come into the team. He come in as a bowler, but he gave everything in the field. And even when he was batting, you can see he's, the players who play in 9, 10, 11 positions in the team, they are not those typical tail-enders anymore. They're trying to bat the overs and get the team to a score. That's what happened in the last game, where we lost 6-7 wickets for 60-70 runs, and Charmika with the tail got us to 160, and we managed to push Aussies, because it wasn't easy for them to score the 160 to win the game. So these are really good things, and because of that, some of these players have earned a call up to the test team as well. You know how it works in Sri Lanka when you do well in a long series, like a 5-match one-day series. And Maxwell has made his way into the Australian test team. But we'll talk about test squads later on. I think you wanna finish up with a little bit of your wisdom about the one-day series.
Yeah, I think, because how do I say it? We've ended on the right side of close games, and it feels good. The last game as well, we pushed it as much. I think our batting let us down at the start, but I mean, we made some changes because of injuries or sicknesses and whatnot. But we had to make some changes into the last game. Might be a small thank you for the Australians to be a lighter batting order, but I don't know. I mean, Chandima coming into the wheel, just quickly, I mean, to brush or talk about Chandima coming to the 11. That's it's a hard one to gauge.
You want me to go first?
No. Yeah, I know there's a bit of frustration on it, and the topic. I mean, you walk around any part of Australia or in Sri Lanka. Sorry, you ask everyone the question, what's the logic behind that or the thinking behind that? Just to justify and iron out any frustrations with that, I'll give my thoughts, and I think I'll let you finish it off. But like the thinking would have been, it's a number 4 position, and we need a bit of a steady head, not a guy who's a dynamic hitter. That's what would have ironed out Bhanuka. This is just
Yeah.
trying to justify that. But I mean, if that was the thinking, I probably would have still gone with Dickwella. Make a change, tinker in the order, give Dickwella number 4 position. He tends to handle spin well because it's a spin-oriented pitch. And with his good glove work behind the stumps, he's been massively, he's been keeping really well. He's a good keeper. So I would have gone Dickwella, but I think the powers to be decided, let's give Chandimal a go, and wasn't the result that they wanted. And, we see the backlash. That's how I see it, but
Yeah.
that shouldn't have happened.
When I saw the playing Lohan Bora, I could not understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, only explanation I could think of is, okay, so Cummings is playing and their spinners are playing, so they're trying to give Chandimal a knock where he can have some batting practice. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time after a year we got a chance, and we won the series already. This was the first time in a year we got a chance to get one of the youngsters in the squad, get him into the team, let him bat number 4, get Nuvinitha Fernando in there. I mean, you're right, like Dickwella could have batted there, but why not Nuvinitha Fernando?
Yeah, you're right.
I could not understand. Like, I got nothing against Chandi, but his time with the white ball cricket is done, mate. If Nissanka is not scoring runs, if SriLanka is not scoring runs, fine, let's get him in.
Yeah, right. I think that project's timeline has ended. If it, Chandi's run the youth, blood in the youth, and keep him in the system over a period. So now he's past that youth project. The youth project should go to someone else.
Yeah.
If we expect some returns, and in a one game return, you'd like someone like a Nuvanidhu there. But yeah, you're right. When you think about the test format, maybe they wanted to give him, but then you need to buckle down and play a test format, get match practice. So, but moving on, that's I think that one of the reasons we fell short in the last game, just not enough runs. And I think over the series, what I noticed was how the spin played a part.
Yeah.
The impact on, I know the pitches in Kandy were slightly different, like we discussed. It spins in the day and then settles through the night. It had a similar effect in Colombo as well. Because it was spinning square, but the team totals were pretty good, pretty healthy scores in a one-day game. So it wasn't, apart from the last game, they're pretty healthy scores out there, majority of it. So what I noticed was the effect of spin in the first. I've put it down between the 4th over and the 18th till the 18th over. How the spin, how the teams tackle the spin there. Teams who tackle that passage well, set up well, and I have a feeling that might flow on to the test series as well. In the last one, Mahesh wasn't bowling the best in the start of the series. He bowled well towards the last two, or even the last, more or less the last game that he bowled well. Because he managed to get more turn and get that areas, landing areas a lot more back in spot.
He was bowling into test fields, like leg slip and a short leg, and
exactly. So, and he was doing that. He started from the second over, but that's the effect of having a hard seam and having more of a grip. Playing in the subcontinent, that's where the spinner seems to be having more effect in the first few overs since of late. And for the series, I saw that as playing a part. We saw a difference when he played Dunit Velallage, because he's a finger spinner. He seems to be, bowling through that passages when given the chance, and he was effective for us. The rest was I think as the game progressed, we managed to go. It wasn't a big difference. I mean, because it became a bit slower, players were able to adjust. So in goal, it will be interesting. The dynamics of our spinners will change. Lasit Tambuldenia will come over. He's more over the top finger spinner,
Yeah,
not the conventional, spinner who can dart it in or has that natural variation regularly. Well, like we have that Praveen Jaivikram as that. Um, so that will be the effect on spinners, and that's how I saw the series play out in the one-day team.
yeah.
Um, we were lucky we have guys like Vanidu Hasaranga, throwing, changing games for us, as well as Jeffrey had a really good
Yeah, yeah.
one-day game. We
We
seemed
we forgot one guy who made silent contributions, and he made a
yeah,
big part in this series, bro. That is
yeah,
Dhananjay De Silva.
yeah. You're right.
With the bat, with the ball, and the catches,
Yes.
he took wickets at right times. I mean, you talked about like the luck was on our side, but when it comes to batting, luck wasn't with Dhananjay. Like I think four of his dismissals were like they were brilliant catches. Like the wicketkeeper took
Yeah,
one-handed, then
yeah.
I think it's about four
It,
catches. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
good that you talk about that with Dhananjay. You'll never see him get out to a good ball.
no, no.
It's always him getting himself out is how I feel it.
And
He's in such good positions. I'll rarely see him get out
no,
for
bro.
or get him out, which looks like a good ball. Like
No,
he'll
bro.
be driving on the up and stuff like that. And
And if you're an umpire, bro, why would you want to give a
he must,
decision against him? You want to see him bat, my. He's
yeah,
so easy on the eye. Oh my god, I can
he,
watch him all day.
yeah. And since we're talking about him, I've noticed he's made a technical adjustment in his batting. So he's, how he's very natural. He's laid back, taps his bat. I've
Yeah,
noticed in the one day he tends to have his back lift a bit more higher than
right.
normal. So it
Yeah,
allows him to generate a bit more bat
bit more
speed.
power. Yeah,
I think it's a conscious change because I've seen him bat over a period. I haven't seen him make this adjustment before this series. So
right.
I think it's a good change, and I'm not sure who identified it, but whether it's himself or whoever's in the coaching crew working with him,
Yeah,
that's a good adjustment to his game. Because like he tends to bat very lazily, and when he drives a bit
no
upish,
timing for him, isn't it?
yeah, that backlift I think has allowed him to just delay it and be a bit more consistent. So, but
Mm,
I've seen that in runs he's getting.
yeah,
I don't know whether he'll take it on to the test matches or it's more of a one-day focus change.
yeah.
But I saw that and I thought that's pretty good that he's made that change.
No, no, he didn't look troubled at all, Bora. He was
Nah, he's
just
never
keep
back.
flowing every time he went into bat, but he was unlucky. He couldn't carry on.
Yeah,
He could have easily got 100 in that game here. He got a 70.
yeah.
But yeah. Um, did you
So
notice?
many players, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Did you notice him his bat lift against fast bowlers as well, or just against spinners?
Yeah, it's more the fast bowlers.
All
So
right.
I think it's on a slow wickets because he tends to drive and it, just plugs up in the air. He seems to
Oh,
be getting it high, so he gets a bit more of a bat generation. So um,
and,
it's yeah, I've noticed that as well. So
yeah, he missed out the last game, which allowed Chandimal to come in. And I mean, Dana, what are you doing? Just stay still.
yeah, yeah, the last chance to do that.
Anything
um,
else about the one day series? What about our fast bowlers,
lots of
Bora?
lots of players for a change. We've got to talk
Yeah,
different
we can talk
stages.
about the one day series for 2 hours. It's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, you're right. Very rare we get this. The fast bowlers you got, I mean, Dushmantha Chamira is pretty good, just that he had to manage his ankle, I think was the right call, just to give him time to recover.
Yeah,
Because I mean, there's a reason he's not playing Test cricket. They seems to be managing him. There might be the T20 World Cup that they
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
plan as well. So um, he's been good. Charmika's good. Even the new kid who
yeah,
played the game,
yeah,
Pramod Madhukan, looks like a level head, something to work with, and with our Test fast bowlers. So Charmika got the new ball eventually.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and he got Finch out with a ball that comes in. So he knows what he needs to work on. So who else? Charmika with the bat did well. So many players have put their
Yeah.
hands up.
We talked
Very
about
rare.
a lot of players. I want to talk a bit about Lasith Malinga as well. Like we notice our bowlers choose to bowl a slow ball in crunch situations, more often now. I think
Yeah.
that influence is coming from Lasith, his game awareness and his experience and the situation he has handled in the middle for nearly 15 years. He's
Yeah.
bringing all that for these youngsters to use in the fourth game where Dasun,
Yeah. Talk
told
about
his
that
dev to
game.
bowl off cutter to Kunaman. I think that's a one big example of that. And I saw Charmika running in and
Yeah.
bowl a slow ball, and after he took the wicket, he said, I told you." So I think we should stay with him
Yeah.
till the World Cup.
Yeah. I think that's that, consistency and giving a run so he can get work with a set of the players so they identify, okay, his pattern of thinking. It's
Mhm.
not like a one day where you speak to him and suddenly the world's a different place. It has to be over the amount of days, months, and habits that
Yeah.
has to be built in. And I think you're right. Everyone watching the game knows the play at that time
Yeah.
was a slow ball back of a lane, so it's hard to get under and clear. So, um, but you could see the tension. I'm thinking even from Dasun, he is probably thinking, why did I take this over halfway through it? Because he's thinking, bloody hell, I've made a game out of it. So, but composed himself, got the result back. And everyone's probably, Marlingo's in the boundary line shouting, no.
Poor Dhananjay. Mali was on
Yeah,
Tara's ear for the last
yeah.
couple of overs.
It's pretty. It's the funny thing. It's good that he was Dhananjay De Silva because he just shrugs off
Yeah,
everything. He just
he
like
talked
you just
everything in.
listen. So, yeah, he's not a guy who I know like doesn't show expression. So it kind of that's the best person you want. Imagine if he was talking, Malingo was talking that to Chamika, there'll be just so many emotions involved. It wouldn't have been good to watch. So
Would have given 10 different messages.
yeah, but it showed how much we wanted that win. I mean, 30 years is massive with our right.
Yeah.
We've had so many good teams. Maling has been in teams which played for Sri Lanka and couldn't get
No,
the
not
result.
at home.
When you
No.
say 30.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty
Definitely.
good achievement. I know there is, the debate of saying, look, the Australian team at the time was a very strong team. Sri Lanka was strong, but it's credit to this young group. They've achieved something that we couldn't do for 30 years. And now at a time when we need a bit of joy and happiness with everything that happens in Sri Lanka. So we've got to give them that chance to say thank you for putting that show on for us.
No, no. He was a remarkable. You can see how the crowd and the general public reacted to that. I mean,
Yeah.
if they forgot about what's going on in Sri Lanka for 2 weeks because the team was doing well.
Yeah.
That credit should go to the boys. Talking about 30 years, like I hear this 30 years every morning, Bora, when I saw
Yeah.
because it's nothing to do with cricket, but I'll tell the story anyway.
Yeah.
So every day when I go to work, I meet this guy. He has a fencing business,
Yeah.
and I say, "Hey, morning, Sam," and he goes, "Hi, Chaminda." And I go, "How you doing, Sam?" And he goes, Oh, bloody, I can't go to work. This business, I had this for 30 bloody years. I don't want to do this anymore. Then he goes on and on about, and I say, all right, Sam, I'll see you tomorrow. Then
Yeah,
next morning, it's the same thing.
same thing. You're right. When I said 30, all I did was I deducted 2022 by 30, and I think it's, I don't know how many,
92.
what the year it
Yeah,
was,
92.
92, and I thought, bloody hell, we had so many good teams at that
Yeah,
time and still couldn't beat them. So pretty big achievement.
yeah.
Um,
All
yeah,
right, let's move on to the test series, Bora. Sri Lanka
yep,
has announced a 18-man squad for the two tests in goal,
yeah,
starting on 29th.
yeah,
Captain Dimuth, Pathum Nissanka is back.
yeah,
Obviously, he was, he didn't play the Bangladesh test matches.
yeah.
Oshad Angelo, who is in good form. Kusal Mendes, another guy
Yeah,
who's in good form. Yeah, Jeff. I mean, apart from Kamil
yeah.
Mishara, and Kamil Mishara is missing out from the squad that went to Bangladesh, but
I think he's
everyone
got
else is,
discipline issues. Yeah,
yeah, everyone else is pretty much the same. Dunit is coming in,
yeah.
and
I think
Jeffrey
Dunit,
Van der Say making it.
Jeffrey Van der Sar is a good
Yeah,
inclusion. I mean, off the back of his performance, he'll be in that squad. With that 18-man squad, I think it's pretty easy to knock out a few players off. Just knock out the 4 fast bowlers in that team. That'll bring you to 14, 14,
Red
14.
bowlers.
Yeah, get the 14-man squad in. And
Yeah,
then because you'll have I mean, you had I mean, we've just won a series in Bangladesh off the back of some good fast bowlers, and we're still backed up a bit of into that 18-man squad fast bowlers. So I'll chop them out
yeah.
first. In
Charmik is there for net bowling. That's it.
net bowling as well. So it'll be it might be one fast bowler, and then whether they go with the spinning option in goal or 2 fast bowlers and 2 spinners with Ramesh Mendes as the all-rounder bat.
Mm.
Um, the top 5 batters will be Oshada, Dimuth, Kusal Mendes, Angelo, Dhananjay De Silva, and Chandimal as your 6.
Pathum? No Pathum?
Oh, Pathum's there as well, isn't it? So Pathum's coming
Oh.
back from injury. Good one.
Yeah.
So Chandimal might not be in the 11 then.
I don't know. I mean, when was the last time we had problems like this, bro?
Yeah, right.
Everyone's scoring runs. And
Yeah,
you can't say, oh, these runs were in the one day. So you're facing the same bowlers. So it's pretty much,
yeah.
so yeah, no, this is really good. Even the
I think,
spinners, there's a big competition against spinners as well. Like Ramesh Mendes didn't really have a good series in Bangladesh.
uh,
Dhananjay is bowling well. So do you need another off spinner in the team? I don't know. Like you need one, but
yeah. Yeah,
this
those are conversations the management are having right now. I think they're like, I didn't realize Pathum Nissanka till we just brought it when we said the number 5 that I automatically picked. So also the Fernando's the opener. So Pathum will be, designated opener.
yeah,
Will either you bat him down the order. Pathum is a massive headache for the selectors or the mood to make, because he's the test captain. He's got to select or work with the coach to decide his 11. Um, Pathum coming in for the Fernando is what I see, and Dickwell behind
okay.
the stumps. Yeah. So so how do I say it? Let's rephrase the top 5 players. Batters will be Dimuth, Pathum, Kusal, Angelo,
Anand,
Dhananjay De Silva, Miroshan Dickwell,
Chandi.
and then but that'll be 7 batters. Then
Yeah.
you go with one left armer, one off spinner, and 2 fast bowlers. That's a possibility. So that is a possibility, because I doubt they'll back two left-arm spinners and two fast bowlers. This is where when you look at the team announcement and you see Dunit Vellalage as a standby player, it's almost like he squeezes into the
second
to the
test.
11. Yeah, because he has that extra batting ability to sneak in and being a left arm spinner. So definitely dynamics, but I mean we've got to remember we are coming off a pretty good series win in Bangladesh. So it's a good steady 11 that we got there. So Pathum is a must to have in the 11. So Sundar might miss out. Or do they go keeping Chandi out and play Pathum there with Osunda in the 11? So
decisions.
Powers to be, but I think Chandi's record in goal might give him a bit of a chance there. And I think he had a decent series in test ball in red ball cricket. So he might hold the spot there. But it's a healthy 12 to have.
Yeah, 12. I don't know. Just about 14 fighting for 11.
For a change.
Yeah, I know. Like, no, that's really good. I think they'll go with two fast bowlers, bro. That's my gut feeling, because you don't remember what happened against England year and a half ago.
Yeah.
You don't want to you don't want the spinning pitches backfire on you as well. So
yeah,
I'm not saying they're going to prepare a seamer friendly wicket. That's never going to happen in goal. But yeah, I think they will go with two fast bowlers, at least for the first test. And maybe second test we'll go with one fast bowler. Then, like SriLanka used to do when playing at goal ball, you bowl a couple of overs with the new ball, then take a rest for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I think that's why the Charmika is always in the test squad in case they want to go with a guy who wants to bowl and can hold his bat. So that he's always that 12th, 13th guy. With just looking at Australia, I think it's a safe bet to make Josh Hazlewood won't play the first test match.
No.
He's had a heavy workload because he's played throughout the white ball cricket. So we've seen his place in the test team, especially when they're traveling overseas. He doesn't play as often. He didn't play in Pakistan much. No. So Mitchell Stark, I think, will come back depending how quickly his fingers healed.
Yeah. And his record in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, his record in Sri Lanka. And his record against Dimuth has been pretty good as well. Yeah. So,
but his record with the all ball was pre-South Africa, so
just quietly.
So don't know whether he'll be as effective as he was in 2000. Was it 2016 or 17? Yeah, 2017, wasn't it?
17. You reckon with Sri Lanka wearing all yellow for a thank you, they would have had a bit nervousness with the yellow color.
What's going on here?
Yeah, with what happened in South Africa, yellow is a very sensitive color associated with the cricket that is going on. So, but it depends how, that's on a lighter context. Depends how Smith is a big factor for them with his injury. Because they feel Smith is one of the better players of spin. So don't know how quickly he'll recover. Manas is struggling against spin in Sri Lanka. I know he's on social media. He had his mat and all those workings. Different game to Pakistan.
Yeah, you raised this question when they went to Pakistan. You said his real test is the next few months, and you're right. Like, it's not easy. Like you can train like 10 different ways to play against spin, but the real test is in the middle. In the middle, 35 degrees and no breeze, and you're sweating like a pig.
Yeah, different game to Pakistan where they were they were playing on flat stinkers. I mean, commentators were banned to say it's a road or a flat pitch. So yeah, in a different part of Asia where spin is encouraged, you want to see the ball spin on pitches. So, but he's got the skill sets. He's a pretty good player, and we want players like them to come on top to know, hang on, this guy can play. But Adam Voges also traveled to Sri Lanka with a Bradman average, but he couldn't walk out well from Sri Lanka. So
That ended his career.
yeah, so but let's see how Manas goes.
Yeah, I mean, he's a cricket nut, Bora, you know.
Yeah, he'll love it. I mean,
he'll try different things to, you know.
Yeah,
he's struggling. He'll try different things. Yeah,
he'll do a lot of things, and the Sri Lankan how do I say, groundkeepers, groundsmen will help him, you know, encourage him to say, okay, what do you need? We're pretty accommodating in that aspect. So he'll venture out and try to, you know, work on different aspects. The guy we love talking about, Usman Khawaja, will be out there. So again, another good test for him. We've seen the Australians seem to have a liking to the hoppers. The hoppers in Sri Lanka I mean, there's a political joke with the hoppers going around in the past. But I mean, it's good that what I've noticed is with international cricket, with IPL, with I think there's a more comfort zone of the cultures. The teams are more used to and understand the cultures a lot more better. I think it's a dynamic of the IPL, the exposure across many players being involved, and also for a country like Australia, with the migration happening and a lot of, you know, close involvement with Sri Lankan players, they understand Sri Lankan culture a lot more. I mean, in Melbourne, a lot of the clubs associated, there are a lot of Sri Lankans involved in the cricket setup. So they understand it a lot more better compared to, you know, the long eras before. So for the Australians, just relating, they want to understand and learn. I think there was a nice article that came out about Nathan Lyon talking about how he wants to, you know, bowl and settle in the Sri Lankan conditions, and he relate how he's, you know, spoken to, or he's been working with Chandika Hathurusinga more recently. That's our ex-Sri Lankan coach who lives in Sydney, has a lot of involvement with the New South Wales setup. Plus, you have your Tilan Samaraveeras, Rangana Herats, and, you know, coaches. Where a lot of Sri Lankans involved in the coaching setups where they can relate to bridge that gap. But true test for the spinning team, I think. I don't know. I've just picked up while I wanted to cover it when we were discussing the spin setup at the start of when we talk about the one-day review with that. But something I think the Australians haven't been able to bridge while playing in Sri Lanka in the test setup is the release points, because a lot of the I think even in the article, Nathan Lyon talks about his test. I still believe in spinning up the back of the ball. So when you spin the back of the ball, you have the spin, the seam pointing up, and you get it spinning over the top. And in conditions like in Australia, Nathan Lyon gets so much bounce and get good turn. That is not really effective in Sri Lanka. So when he does it, spin it off the back of the hand. If you look at the screen, I've got the palm face into the side of it and then coming over the top. If you notice, a lot of the successful Sri Lankan spinners slightly palm facing up. It's almost like a bit of a cut, and then you go like that. So if you look at footage on how Rangana Herat would have released in the past, just slightly there and he turns it. That gives that deep of the ball spins across to the one then just goes on. So when I saw that, it's good, Nathan, rely on that. I think the difference between success in Australia and Sri Lanka, especially to have success in Sri Lanka, is having that just to the side of it.
Yeah.
Um, he
It
talks
is
about
the
lowering
side.
his arm. Yeah, he talks about lowering his arm and be able to get the ball to dart in. Um, that'll be I mean, it's good. I mean, even Lasit Ambudenia, he's more over the top bowler,
Yeah.
the traditional spinner. So he's trying to get that, his palm just facing slightly, but he's also not there yet.
Yeah.
That's why his overseas record is really good. Lasit's overseas record in South Africa and whatnot, he's been pretty effective compared to playing local.
Hmm. Do you reckon like Sri Lankan spinners, they always try to spin the ball and take wickets rather than to contain? Is that a reason why the spinners from Australia don't try to bowl with more side spin?
I think it's just getting used to the conditions in Australia because the wickets are flat and true. The
Yeah,
more the convention, like the more you side go spin it, you don't get much off the wicket, so it
yeah,
just sets up well, and that's why it's the flip of the coin when Sri Lanka travels out here. Our finger spinners struggle. I mean, even Rangana Herat
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
effective because it just kids on. It
No,
just
yeah,
sets up. It
and
comes
no
to the bat
bounce, no
even.
turn. So yeah, yeah,
They just it's like someone putting throwdowns at the batter, just hit through the line. That's why we struggle when we come here.
mm,
And for people like for Nathan Lyon, it's struggling to go with his fingers across because his body is used for 30 years of 25 years of cricket where he's used to bowling over the top like
yeah,
that. And for our Sri Lankan spinners, we are used to more coming undercutting or just to the side to
yeah.
make that change. Whereas the guys like your Ashwins are a bit more advanced they are able to pick that. That's how I think I see it as a difference.
Nana, like you mentioned, Ashwin, like he's one guy who's smart enough to figure these things out and try them. And I don't see anyone else bring these changes into the international game as fast as Ashwin. The way he started and what he's bowling now, I mean, he's in his last
Yeah,
year of his career, but still, he still come up with new balls. I mean, different variations. And even our Sri Lankan great Murali, he didn't bowl a Dusra up until he has taken 400 test wickets for us. He started bowling those after 400 test wickets. That's remarkable.
it's a good thing he didn't bowl earlier because Romesh Kalwitharana had no clue where the Dusra was going to happen. Yeah. And he was one of our best keepers, and only Sangakkara had good. There was there's a there's a lovely series or TV episode on YouTube where Murali and Sangakkara discuss about. I mean, it's I think an Indian show where they talk
Right.
about cricket and not. And they talk about this scenario where Sangakkara has picked up the Dusra and is doing well, but then there's a series where Kalwitharana comes back and he's the wicket keeper.
Maybe
And
test. Like
yeah, in
there was
test,
a
yeah.
time. Yeah, yeah.
And apparently Murali said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to bowl any Dusra, so you concentrate on the ball spinning in." And then Murali at the top of the mark changes his thoughts and
Right.
bowls the Dusra. And then
What are you
and guess
doing?
what? It gets yeah, exactly. That's what's happened. So it's it's funny, but just coming back to Murali, yeah, he didn't release that ball till he was 100%
No,
on it.
no. Or I think we should wrap this up, Bora. Once again, big shout out to our sponsor, Stack Sports Australia. You can check their website. We'll add a link to their website in the show notes, or you can visit their showroom in Preston. If you let them know that we send you there, you'll get a 10% discount on all your purchases. Yeah, give us a like on our social media and If you have any questions or comments, send them to srilankancricketpodcast@gmail.com or send a message on our social media.
Yeah, thanks a lot for listening. Hope to catch up on the next episode and cover a bit more with the test matches kicking off.
Yeah, can't wait. See you next week.
Cheers, guys.